Hello everyone again, Tyler with Massage AME. I'm doing a little impromptu video here, and it's a pouring out of my heart a little bit, maybe a little bit of my soul, some of the thoughts I keep having recently. If you care to hear about them, it's something I've thought about off and on for many years because I've always been this way for as long as I can remember. And that is the concept of being a loner. And I know I'm not the first to do a video on this sort of thing or to talk about it, but I want to offer up my perspective and why it's not a bad thing. I think there's a fine difference between being a loner and being lonely. Being a loner does not necessarily insinuate that you're a lonely person or that you feel alone. And if you do feel alone, well, maybe this video will help you not feel that way so much. Because I have found that in my career as a massage therapist, being a loner has actually, massage therapy suits my style. I get to work by myself. I'm really not micromanaged. I have a lot of time to just be. And yeah, it's you and your client, of course, but all the same, um, there's just not this overwhelming feeling of dealing with the public, as it were, if you want to put it that way. That's not to say that I have an issue with being in public. It's not like a social anxiety. It's nothing like that. It's just um, I like that time by myself. It's how I recharge. Some people say that's what an introvert is, and maybe that's true. I've also heard some people say, well, you're an outgoing introvert, because you can talk to people, you can put yourself out there, but you also, like to be by yourself. You enjoy your quiet time. Well, I honestly believe that, loners, as it were, they they value not just their private time just to recharge or their time alone for recharging, but it's also just sorting out your thoughts. You kind of enjoy that whole time to just think, and we get a lot of time to do that. Those of us who behave this way, we're not afraid of what's going on in our heads. We have to learn to drown it out every now and then, though, because we can drive ourselves crazy. But all the same, it's not an issue to want to be alone. And I've had people, say, well, you're antisocial. They put you down like, well, you think you're better than us. You're just a downer, whatever, that kind of thing. No, I disagree. I disagree completely. It's just a different way of thinking, different way of processing, different way of just how you manage yourself in this world. And I think more people could stand to enjoy solitude. I cannot tell you how great it actually is. If you're a person who enjoys your solitude, you understand exactly what I'm saying. But, that's sometimes just taking a drive, just taking a walk around the block, around a park, sitting outside in your backyard around some of your favorite plants. Um, Cooking can be an experience, doing it by yourself, and reading, um, or just listening to something, um, watching something. Actually, I'm going to assume right now a lot of the people who are watching this video right now, you probably are a loner. And, so you are probably watching this video by yourself right now. But it's okay because, again, you enjoy that moment to just collect your thoughts and to process everything that's been going on in your life. And hopefully I'm helping people understand that you don't have to feel alone. That it's okay to be a loner. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. Um, I think I listed it off already just a little bit, gave you some insights into it, but there are many benefits to being a loner. And I think also loners tend to get more validation from themselves. They don't need to seek out the validation and attention of other people all the time. And it's I would dare say that even loners uh, may actually create more too, because they do spend so much time in thought and a lot of time in their imagination too. I don't know about the rest of you guys who may be loners out there, but I daydream all the time. It's I can't help myself. Not because like I lose focus, I lose attention on things, or I can't get my work done. I'm not a procrastinator or anything like that, but I do like to daydream. I like to think about things and to explore creative thoughts and other processes. If that makes sense. Um, so yeah, this is just something I wanted to share, get it out there a little bit. And it also relates to something else that's been going on in my mind a lot lately. And that is, I miss the 90s. I was a kid who grew up in the 90s. And, if you grew up in the 80s too, I think we are very connected, by the way, whether you're a child of the 80s or child of the 90s, because we share a lot more in common than I realized over the years as I've talked to more and more people who are of that generation growing up in those 2 decades. Um, and why I think that relates to being a loner, because unless you were there, it's really hard to explain it. Like just how unique it really was to grow up during that time. Um, it's like one foot in the old world and one foot in the new world. I get some kids will joke around about it with me. It's kind of funny. People who were born past the year 2000. Like what was it like before the turn of the century? Like, oh, you're so old. um, but I just tell them, nah, it was great. It was great. I have colloquially referred to us as like that last streetlight generation. You understand what that means? It means that we played outside a lot, and we didn't really have to worry about coming home until it got dark and the street lights came on. That's why I refer to us as that streetlight generation. Um, excuse me. Our parents didn't worry as much about us being out. We just messed around. We came up with different games, explored places, and there was a sense of responsibility you still had to have. You had to let your parents know where you were going and who you were hanging out with. I'm not saying we were just cut loose completely. Maybe some of you were. Maybe it depends on what area you grew up in. But all the same, I just remember spending a lot of time outside. And I'm not sure if a lot of kids are getting that same pleasure, that same experience. I see a lot more kids these days attached to some kind of device, um, a video game console, a tablet, um, a phone, you name it. And I'm not trying to be supercilious here. I'm by no means trying to get at, oh, we were better. That's not what I'm saying. Um, this is just something that's very personal, and I'm just sharing it right now. That I miss those times a lot. Um, we just didn't worry about all the things people worry about right now. There's a lot of anxiety out there these days, a lot of worry, a lot of depression, and I don't think I can offer up any advice. I mean, people have heard it many times over, I'm sure. You know, we're caught up in social media a lot, probably more often than we need to be. Sorry, there's something bugging my eye right now. Um, but there's so many people that are living secondhand. There's something somewhat voyeuristic, if you will, about this social media craze, comparing our lives to other people all the time, and wondering, well, why is it my life like that? Honestly, it's all just a show. You just got to go out and live your own life, and don't be afraid to just go out and explore. Just again, use your better sense of judgment. Caution. Always, be responsible. But it's a big world, man. There's a lot to see out there, and I just recall doing things more, not being at home all the time, and video games were still on the rise during that time. You had your NES, your Super Nintendo, and Sega, and all of its um, generations, and um, Sega Saturn may have been the one I was most fond of personally, or no, Sega Genesis, really. Excuse me, Sega Genesis, and yeah, a lot of Super Nintendo. PC gaming, but that was like DOS programming back then. And that sounds so archaic to a lot of people now, but that's just how it was. And so, um, playing outside on a lawn sprinkler, that was how we beat the heat, in a fruit popsicle. Uh, Bubble gum, and if it fell out of your mouth, oh well, you just picked it back up, you brushed it off, and you put it back in your mouth, and you got a little bit of crunchy in it. It was just a different time. It was just different, way different. And like I said, I don't think we worried about all the same things people worry about now. And it was just fun. Um, a lot of consumerism, I will admit. The purchasing power of the middle class at that time was very strong, and you had the option to work a little extra, if you wanted to. You could work extra hard for some extra money if you wanted to take that lavish vacation. Um, I remember the simplicity of just drinking Kool-Aid, even like those Squeeze-Its. I don't know. I don't remember if that's what they were called, but it's some like weird, goofy character. It was a plastic bottle, and you squeezed it. And the juice came out. Variety of colors. Um, all those fun commercials for different cereals, different candies, snacks, toys, commercials, man. Like that's another thing too. Is I've talked to some kids, like they don't even know what a commercial is. Like we see ads, right? But it's having to wait, for that special thing to come out. It was that movie that of the summer, you waited for it to come out. It wasn't on demand. It didn't come right to streaming services. Um, you got excited for your Friday night cartoons or your Saturday morning cartoons, and you looked forward to that. You had to turn on a radio and wait for your favorite song, or wait for something new, and it, things are just so fast paced now and so instantaneous. I just don't think we enjoy them or appreciate them as much as we used to because of that. And so how this relates to being a loner is because, like I said, there's that feeling of one foot in the old world, one foot in the new world. I think those of us who grew up during that time in the 80s and the 90s, we kind of, and I know this to be true to a degree because I've talked to many people who did grow up during those times. We kind of feel like a lost generation. And, we sometimes get lumped in with millennials, and that's fine. Although I think I'd read recently they might be identifying us as something else. But we just, it was just such a fascinating time. It really was. And I know some of you are saying right now too, like, oh, you were a kid, so of course, you romanticize it. Of course, it's why you thought it was so great. Maybe so. Maybe so. But I talked to adults who lived during that time as well, parents or otherwise. And they say, yeah, things were very different. There wasn't all this anxiety and stress that we face now. The early 2000s are pretty good too. I think I would dare say. There was a lot of fun there too, and that was when we were transitioning from analog into digital. But, people who grew up during that time again have an appreciation for both. Um, I remember it distinctly moving into the digital age. That was like the craze. I heard it all over the place. The new millennium, moving into the digital age, and internet, dial up. Oh my goodness. Yeah, if you haven't ever looked up dial up, like look up AOL dial up or something like that, and the sound that it made. Oh man, it was it was quite a noise. Okay, it was quite a noise. And but yeah, that was the kind of stuff that we grew up with. Maybe that's why we're so screwed up. I don't know. Oh, come on, I'm just joking. But um, man, what else can I say about it? It's just I still see things in grocery stores that I grew up with, but it's just not the same. Probably because I'm not a kid anymore. But there was like innocence about it. You know, you didn't think, oh, this stuff is bad for you or it's unhealthy. You didn't think about that kind of stuff. Speaking of which, fast food. You know, the 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 prizes that came in your kids meals, they were just cool, man. I don't think kids get the same stuff. Like it's just not as good, you know. And there was so many campaigns, ad campaigns, for that kind of stuff too. It was just so much fun. Um, oh yeah, and Sonic was my boy, by the way. I was really into Sonic, Sonic the Hedgehog, and that was my guy. Still is. um, Played a lot of Castlevania, Castlevania 4 in particular. That was my game. Um, Donkey Kong, uh, Donkey Kong Country on the Super Nintendo was one of my other favorite pastimes. A lot of soda campaigns too. That I think people always kind of knew that soda wasn't good for you, but yeah, Pepsi and Coca Cola, man, like that was probably the height of it. So yeah, American consumerism and American capitalism, it was very prominent during that time, and like I said, the purchasing power of the middle class was very strong. Um, and maybe there was a lot of things about that weren't right either. I suppose you could say that, but I'm not here to knock it. I'm just saying I just miss the feelings that I had and the fun that I had. And I know I'm not alone in this. Speaking of being a loner, I know there has to be many people out there who share these thoughts and these feelings who grew up during that time. So, at any rate, I wanted to share this with you because, yeah, it's just something I've been feeling. And, hopefully you feel less alone knowing that there's somebody else out there who is like you, who feels these things also. And again, just reminding you, it's okay. It's okay to be a loner. And just keep going about your business. Keep doing the best you can, right? What more can anybody ask for? Just do your best. And yeah, there's going to be a lot more coming. So, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so. It means a lot to me. It really does. And if you made it through this whole video watching it, again, I really appreciate it. And get some more content out there very soon. It's just, it's a lot of work. Got multiple things going on. So, thanks again. Take care now. Until the next video.